Hello. In this video I'm going to go over how to set up and use OBS in order to record coding videos and project videos. So OBS is a great free screen recorder and also doubles as a streaming application. However, in this video we're talking about recording videos only. So simply Google or search up OBS on your favorite search engine and download OBS to get started. Run the installation and then open the application. And also make sure you download the appropriate bit application for your processor. But anyway, so once you open and run OBS, you'll be greeted with this screen. Now, on the outset, I'm saying that this video is not a guide for every machine, every computer, because it really depends on your it depends on your specs of your computer. I'm right now using a mid-range laptop, which I think will be a good basis for most people. However, you will have to do a couple of test videos to adjust certain settings, etc. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get started. So you may find whenever you download or whenever you open up the OBS application for the first time, it suggests to run the Auto Wizard configuration, which means that OBS will take a look at your hardware and decide what settings should be set, etc. Now this is very good. However, typically it will go for the lower option in terms of FPS or frames per second or bitrate, etc. So it ensures that the application works correctly. But this is why I'm recording this video, is to show you the settings that I use personally in my videos. So if you run the configuration wizard and it works perfectly, that's great. You can skip ahead to the bit where I show you how to use OBS. However, for the first part of this video, we're going to go over the settings. So to get to the settings, we do File and then we go to Settings, and this pops up the settings window. Okay, so general settings. So taking a look here, we're not going to be really changing anything. Obviously set your language to the appropriate language, and the theme you can change to whatever suits your preference. I typically go for the dark one, which looks, in my opinion, the best and is the default. However, you can change it to however you like it. Everything else is going to stay the same in the general tab here. So moving on to stream, since this video is not about streaming, we're just gonna simply ignore this. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to output. So output mode is going to be simple. We're not streaming in this video, so we're gonna just leave this blank. Okay, so now we'll go on to the recording output settings. So the recording path is going to be typically going to be set up in your user's video folder. However, you can change that to whatever you prefer. I'm going to leave that as is. So ignore this generate file name without space and look at recording quality. So right now it says same as stream, so it's going to be using these settings, which isn't what we want. So we want to go for high quality medium file size. Now If your computer can handle it, you can go for indistinguishable quality or lossless quality. However, this will exponentially increase the file size. A higher file size will mean that it's more difficult to use in a video editing software and harder to upload. And, well, not harder to upload, but it will take longer to upload if you're uploading the video to YouTube or processing the finished edited video into another file. So now that we've done that, the recording format pops up. Default, it's set to MKV. We want an MP4 file. Okay. Now the encoder. So as it says, warning: recording with a software encoder at a different quality than the stream will require. So that's only if you're streaming. Typically, streamers will sometimes record and stream at the same time, which puts a lot of strain on the computer. But that's why the warning's there. So you can encode your video by using software, or by the software, we can use hardware. Now, you might have to do a couple of tests to decide which ones you want, which setting you want. I will go for hardware. I typically use hardware. And try hardware first, and if that makes the video choppy or pixelated or in any way, then change to software. It really depends on the hardware of what you're working with. Ignore the warning at the bottom there. We've got MP4 files. Okay, we can apply that. Yeah. So that's fine. So that's been applied. Now what we want to do is go on to audio. So the sample rate ties directly to the quality of the audio. You're just going to go for 41.1 kilohertz. If you want to go to 48 kilohertz, that's fine. But 44.1 is going to be alright. 48 would be of a higher quality, but let's not worry about that. Channels, stereo, just keep it on stereo for your stereo computer. So the devices. So this is what your audio devices are going to be used for. So desktop audio and mic audio. So I have the sound system settings up here, and I'm just going to go ahead and explain what this is. So desktop audio would be audio that comes from your computers, from the computer itself. The audio is created by the computer. So that could be system alerts. It could be, if you're playing like a video game, it would be all the audio from that video game, etc, etc. So right now we have desktop audio ties directly to the playback section of the sound settings. So I'm going to be using my laptop speakers. Again, for a coding video, for project video, you're typically not going to be using the audio of your system. But anyway, if you're recording like a video game, you would need to choose one of these, and obviously default ties to the default device. So that's fine. And then recording, I'm using an auxiliary Blue Snowball microphone to record my voice. However, my computer has a inbuilt microphone, which I've currently disabled. So what does that mean? Well, for most laptops, there would normally be a microphone built into the laptop itself. However, inbuilt microphones tend to be of poor quality, and are often quite hard to talk into due to the placement on the computer itself. So I have that disabled, and I've got myself a blue Snowball microphone. Now, obviously, you don't need to buy an auxiliary microphone to make coding videos. Your inbuilt microphone should suffice, so long as you're intelligible, so long as your words are, can be understood over the audio. But if it is an issue that your inbuilt microphone simply won't cut it, then I would suggest buying an auxiliary USB microphone. But anyway, so that's what those settings mean. Again, if you want to change to if you have multiple audio devices, you can select them here. But anyway, that's that. And obviously you can have up to, I guess, 4 mics connected and recording at the same time. Ignore meters, the meter settings, the advanced settings, and so keep it on sample peak. Hotkeys, push to talk and desktop push to mute and all that, carry on. You can enable those if you want, but for me, I don't use them. But if you want to mute your microphone on your recording by pressing a key on your keyboard, then you can do that. Okay, so we've done that. We've done the audio. I guess we're going to hit apply. Okay, we'll go on to video. So, video. What is video? Well, the video settings tell us what we're recording in. So, my base canvas resolution is what my laptop is. Well, it's set to what my laptop's resolution is, which is 920 by 1080. So that's recording my screen. So set that to your laptop or your computers or your monitor's resolution. Now, output or the scaled resolution is what's going to be produced at the end of the output for the output of the video. So I could set it as low as 640 by 360, which would be a really pixelated small video. Or I can set it to my higher to my actual resolution. So it's going to record 1:1. If your laptop or computer is of a slightly older, you may wish to change the output scale to something lower, because it means that it's less work to process, there's less pixels to record, not less pixels to record, but less work to process it. But you should be fine just setting it to your canvas resolution. So downscale filter, I go for bicubic. So just go bicubic there. That's a good average downscale filter. Now, common FPS. So all this FPS stuff. So what is that? That is how many frames are recorded per second. Now the human eye apparently can only distinguish like 16 frames per second before the movement becomes fluid. I believe that's true, or that might be what movies are filmed at. Whatever. It's less than 30 is what I'm saying. So 30 is a good standard for lower machines. As you can see, you've got a wide selection up to your monitor's refresh rate. Okay, so if you have a 144 hertz monitor, you can obviously go up to 144, but my laptop can only do 60. Now, I would suggest going to 60 and seeing how well your computer handles that. If it drops frames during the recording, i.e. frames aren't being recorded, then you may wish to turn that down. Yes, and we're going to stick to common FPS values now. Yes, so, and how would I drop frames? Well, if your computer, now I would akin this to, if you ever played a video game, say you're playing like an FPS game and there's a big explosion or whatever, and that might make your a lot of stuff's going on the screen at once, and that makes your frames go down, so it becomes like a choppy, almost screen by screen, a frame by frame, moment, second to second sort of choppiness to your gameplay. That's when the frame rate has dropped to such a level due to the amount of stuff going on, so that's what happens when the frame rate goes lower, is that it becomes like a choppy, it's like almost like a selection of still images attempting to be motion. But anyway, I digress. Apply, great. Now move on to hotkeys. So, hotkeys. A lot of hotkeys. I don't personally use hotkeys because I'm always scared that if I bind the hotkey to say like a hashtag for like stop recording, then if I want to write a single line comment in my code, then I'm going to press the hashtag and then stop the recording, which wouldn't be good. But if you have keys, like sometimes laptops come with a row of like multi-purpose keys that can be bound to anything. You can do that. But I just don't use hotkeys myself. Now, the advanced stuff, we're just going to leave the same. Just leave this all the same, because a lot of this is to do with networks and stream delays and streaming and all that. Carry on. Just click apply, I guess. Okay, so everything should be applied. We're going 60 FPS at our canvas resolution. Audio's the same. Output's the same. We're recording in a high quality medium file with MP4. We're using our hardware encoder. Going to my video folder, which you can change obviously. General, we're set to general. We're going to click OK. That's great. Brilliant. So that's the settings done. So we're now going to move on to the how to use OBS right now. So if you did skip to this point in the video, that's what we're doing now. So OBS consists of scenes and sources. One scene can contain many sources. So by default, there's one scene, just simply called scene, here, and you must have at least one scene for OBS to work. In fact, if I tried to delete this by pressing the minus button there, it says there needs to be at least one scene. So, and as you can see, since there was a system alert there, the desktop audio popped up there. Bling, you see, there we go. But anyway, but scene is not a very descriptive word, so if we go scene and we want to say code videos, okay, this is what scene we're going to use whenever we're recording code videos. We've just made a new scene, and we're just going to delete this scene here, and now we have code videos there. Okay, so sources. So sources are what you record on the sources are what you record. So we press the plus button, we can see a whole list of things that we can record. We can record audio, images, browser, windows, the display, etc. So normally I would record using the display capture, which captures my entire screen. However, if you wish to record a specific window, you can do that with window capture. With all the sources, you can simply just change you can write the name. So let's say we'll call this sort of like a window recording, and click OK. Now, for window recording, you have to decide what window you want to use. So you can have, you just match to the window there. You can have, there's my mail app there. You've got an Explorer window here, which it's selected. So if you click OK, now we're only recording the File Explorer window, and since it's not taking up the full screen, the actual window itself, we're not recording. We're not filling the entire recording area, so that's why there's black everywhere there. But that's not really that useful, and sometimes the window recording can be a bit footery because OBS doesn't recognize some applications as running or having a window, etc. So I typically use display capture. So to delete things, you just simply click the minus button there. So just delete that there, and then we're going to click plus, and we're going to add a display capture. So let's just call it code, I guess, code, whatever, something intelligent. And now we can decide what monitor we want to capture. Since the laptop only has one monitor, we're using so if you had like 2 or 3 monitors, you'd be able to choose, but we're choosing this, and you can choose to capture cursor. I would typically capture the cursor, but anyway, look at this right now. Don't be afraid. What's happening here is recursion. OBS is recording OBS, which is recording OBS, which is recording OBS, which is recording OBS, which is recording OBS in an infinite sort of like way until there's no more pixels left. So that's quite weird, but as you can see, it's capturing the entire window. So yeah, so that's what I would typically use for my sources, and you can simply leave it at that for those scenes and sources. The audio mixer will allow you to adjust how loud or soft your audio you want it to be by using these sliders. So yeah, so as you can see, I can make that really quiet and really loud, and you can do that for desktop audio as well. And depending upon how many microphones, you'll have multiple ones of these. Scene transitions, I would just leave. Scene transitions are used for streamers primarily, I believe, to swap between views. So I wouldn't bother with that at all. So here's where the controls. So you can start recording, you can go start streaming, which we're not doing. You can go into studio mode, which we're not talking about. Don't go in there. So you can open the settings, you can exit the application. So and down here you can see live, record, CPU usage, FPS. Live is for how long you've been live streaming for, so that's for streaming. Recording is how long you've been recording for. CPU is how much CPU you're using, the application is using, and FPS is how many frames are being recorded per second. It says 60 right now because we're not recording anything, and that's the maximum amount of frames we set. So let's do that. Let's try and record a video. So what I would do is I click start recording. Now as you can see, we're recording now. Now here's a tip for the video editing, etc. So if you are planning to edit your video, you would kind of say like 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives you a good idea of how to sync, a good phrase to sync the audio to. Yes, so that's what I would do. I'd start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can sync that with the audio mixer spikes in audio. So I could say 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry that hurt your ears, but anyway, that's how I would do that. So right now we're recording, and now I would swap to PyCharm or whatever coding thing you do, and you're typing away, and then you can hit run and do your project and show you off your project. And if you need to go into like an external database workbench like MySQL or MySQL, you can do that. So yeah, that's how I would do that. And then once you're finished, you can hit stop recording. Again, you can set up hotkeys for that. And then that's it. Your video is recorded, which is great. So now you would go into your folder and you'd find videos. So as you can see, since I do make videos, I've got a lot of folders here. So whenever you have all these folders, you would need to obviously find your actual video. So by default, OBS names the file by the date, so 2019 10th Friday at this time of when the recording started, I believe. And then double clicking that, you get your video, and as you can see, it's what we had here. We're recording. So and then there you would have your recording video, and of course you're going to have to edit whenever you swap from OBS to PyCharm or whatever, etc. But yeah, that's how I would record the videos, and I think that's it for this video. Sorry if it's a bit long or a bit not code related, but I think it's useful, a useful video to make. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.